Linus.
Okay, I'm with Wendy,
Hello.
and we're going to run through this. Okay, Wendy.
Yes.
Just to summarize the goals that you're trying to achieve for your house. First and foremost, your feet are getting wet and cold when you go down into that laundry room.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're afraid of getting a shock when you turn that light on above the washer and dryer. And you want to stop the water from coming in on the cracks in the floor and the walls, and you don't want it to get, any worse than that.
No, I don't.
And then you guys plan on staying in this home until you guys retire.
Correct.
So really, you want to take care of this problem once and for all.
Once and for all.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is right.
Oh, okay.
It's gone on long enough. I can't take it anymore.
Awesome. Yeah, I can understand why. So, is there anything else besides those things that you wanted to accomplish?
Not offhand.
Okay. So, if that's what you want to do, then what we need to do is to keep the basement dry to stabilize those walls. And in order to do that, we've got to take a look at some solutions. So, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got to take a look at a couple of product areas. So the first area that we're going to look at is under basements. So I'm going to go ahead and mark keep the whole basement dry and keep it dry all the time. Now this one, keep the whole basement dry, that's the water guard system that we talked about. And then keep dry all the time, that is the sump system. And then during the presentation, you had asked if there was anything that we could do to cover up those cracks in the walls, and we looked at that Zen product, and you really liked that. So that's going to be under fixed walls. So that's everything under basement. And then under walls, to prevent that wall from coming in any further, we're going to take a look at those geo-lock wall anchors. And that's pretty much everything there. And then lastly, while I was in the basement, you've got that crawl space that's attached to the basement. I put my hygrometer in there, and the relative humidity was like 90%. So a lot of that moisture is coming from that crawl space. So what we need to do is fix the groundwater seepage, which is the water coming within the mud in there, control the moisture coming out of there as well, and then prevent any mold, mildew, and odors, and that's that dehumidification system that we've got with the April air. And then we also want to save the energy in that room, because you said that walking over that floor area, it's kind of cold with your feet. So this is not why you called us over, but I'm marking it so that you can look at it, and if you decide that it's not for you, you can just as easily check all of these off. But since I'm here, we'll go ahead and mark all of these. And lastly, keep dry all the time, and that's the sump system to pull the moisture out of the crawl space. Mm-hmm. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
All right. So these are the three main areas that we're going to be looking at. So we'll go ahead and hit save and continue. And right now, normally we would go right into the presentation, and the presentation would cover basement, wall, and crawl space, but we're going to skip over that. We're going to go right into the areas page. And then here, I give a small intro to why fix it. So, before I start the calculations of how we're going to fix your home, I'd like to show you a short video that answers a lot of questions that my customers have on why they should fix their house. So I'll go ahead and hit play on that.
Well, that's everything we have to show you. By now, I hope you are as excited about fixing and protecting your home as we are. We know that these issues can be frustrating and even scary at times. And that's why some homeowners try Band-Aid fixes.
So we go ahead and play that. Then the next video is Meet the Engineer. So Wendy, I'd like to meet you to meet our engineers. They design and test all the solutions that we have. These guys are incredible, so I'll go ahead and play that. So go ahead and hit play.
Hello, my name is Jeff Corton. I'm a geotechnical engineer and the Director of Engineering.
So after playing that, I say, isn't that amazing?
Yes.
What did you like most about what Jeff had to say there?
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah. Wasn't that blah, blah great? Isn't it great to know that these solutions are designed specifically to meet the needs of your house, that, it's not a cookie cutter approach?
Right.
All right. So next, we're actually going to be setting up the areas in your home where you're having problems, and where we're going to fix those problems. So the first area that we're going to take a look at is on the north wall, and it's your laundry area, laundry room, and the repair type is the basement. So the note I'm going to make here is that they should enter through the front door, and you've got new carpeting. And they should cover it with plastic. Okay, so these are just the instructions for our crew. So I'll go ahead and hit save there, and then it's going to bring me to the solutions where I mark whether this is a primary solution or a secondary solution. So the primary solutions, that's why you called us out here for. So keeping it dry all the time, that's a water guard, that's why you called. Keeping it dry all the time, that's a sump, and that's the primary reason why you called. Now, you're interested in fixing those walls with the Zen wall, but you really didn't call us for that. That's just something that you're going to take a look at and decide later if that's something you want to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I hit save here, it's actually going to bring us to now entering in the calculations of the product. So within the laundry area, I've already measured. You've got a total of 35 feet of water guard. And bleeder lines, those are the lines that run through the floor, you've got a total of 25 feet of bleeder line. With 6 inspection ports that we'll need, for the bleeder lines and for the water guard. And then for keep dry all the time, you really like the triple safe. And with the triple safe, we will need 2 buried discharge lines that you want to go out to the garden. And we'll need an additional 15 feet of buried discharge line, 1 for each discharge. So I'll go ahead and add that out. So 2 15 feet lines for a total of 30 feet. So the water evacuates out to the garden. And then under fixed walls, we've got the Zen wall, which we've already talked about, a total of 50 feet there. All right, so that's all the information related to the water guard, the sump, and the Zen wall. So we'll go ahead and hit save and continue there. And next we're going to create another area called the west wall, which is also in the laundry area. And that is going to be under wall. And here I'm going to make a note that your yard is enclosed with a 40-inch gate, and that they were to bring a piece of heavy equipment called the dingo to get through the gate. And the projection of your deck is 16 feet. You're going to need to know that for the geolock system. All right, so we'll go ahead and hit save, and then the stabilization of those walls is a primary concern because that's why the wall's cracking. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be straightening the walls over time. You can always call us back. We'll straighten those as the ground allows us to, and then for a service, we can come out for an additional fee to straighten those up. But I'm not going to build that into the pricing today. So I'll go ahead and hit save and continue. And then here, I'm going to enter additional information that is specific to the construction of your home. This will help me calculate the spacing on the geolock. So I've got to change this to the geolock wall anchor system. The wall height here is 7 feet. And then from the top of the grade to below, exterior grade is 1 foot and the wall length is 16 feet. And the maximum inward deflection or movement is 1.5 inches. So already we can see down here below that it's recommending 3 geolocks. So when I hit save and continue, so this program is actually designed by our engineers and built by our engineers, and this is the exact same program that they would use as if they were sitting here with us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're recommending 3, and that's what we're going to go with. So 3 geolocks on that wall, and we're going to need 3 extensions because those geolocks only go out 12 feet, and that will extend them past that, and then we'll also need 3 geolock couplers to couple those together. All right. So we'll save and continue on that. So next is the east wall, and that is where you got your crawl space. And then the repair type is under crawl space. And I'm just going to make a note here that this is, attached to the laundry room, that it's got 36-inch ceilings. This is all I'm taking from your drawing here, 36-inch ceiling, or 2, I'll just make a note, to the joists, and that the opening is 25 inches by 35 inches. Okay.
All right.
All right, so all of these are secondary because you didn't call us to take a look at specifically the crawl area, or the crawl space, but it's got very high humidity, and based on our measurements, it is the source where that humidity is coming in. So fix ground seepage, control earth's moisture, prevent mold and odors, save energy, and keep dry all the time. These are all the areas we're going to have to enter in product information to calculate the cost of that, and those are all secondary. And again, you can take a look at it and decide later if that's something you want to put into your proposal. So we'll go ahead and hit save and continue. And under ground seepage, you've got a total of 50 feet around the perimeter of smart pipe, and I believe that is everything there. Then under control earth's moisture, you have a total of 200 square feet of clean space, and we looked at that and how that's going to keep the moisture from coming in through the ground. And then the drainage matting, 150 square feet there, and then 150 square feet of Terra block. 50 feet there. And then we're going to get into the prevent mold and mildew. So the April Air 1850, that's the one that we determined would be the appropriate size for your home. And then we're going to basically mount that onto the ceiling with the April Air hanging kit. Okay, so that takes care of everything under prevent mold, rot, and odors. And under save energy, we are going to install 150 linear feet of the Silver Glow with 4 feet, along with 150 feet of room tight. So that's going to really help you gain some efficiency underneath that crawl space, where it's going to make it a lot warmer so your feet aren't so cold. How does that sound?
Good.
All right, so the very last area is our sump system, and we're going to go with the Super Sump N53 with a backup battery. And then we're going to add additional PVC piping because we're going to run that along the ceiling in the laundry room. So, and then additional buried discharge to run that out to the garden. Okay. So over here, that's 20 feet of additional plumbing, and then 15 additional feet to run it to the garden. Now, as I'm looking at this, I've got to go back here. Okay, any questions on this?
No, not at all.
Now, I made a data entry error that I'm going to go back into with the sump system here. With the triple safe, we actually have to have 2 buried discharge lines. So, okay, yeah, I did do that, and we got 30 additional. Okay, so that's all correct. So I thought I had an error there. I don't. I did that correctly. Okay, so the next area that we're looking at is the rest of the house, and this is to protect the rest of the home from water intrusion. So for water protection. And this is under basement, and this is to protect rest of home and to attach to new water guard system. Alright, so we'll go ahead and enter that, and again, this is not something you call this out for. Primarily, this is just to protect the rest of the home from water coming into it, and we're going to mark that as a secondary area of interest or solution that you'll be taking a look at. So the total linear feet for the water guard for the rest of the house is 75 feet with a total of 8 inspection ports. Alright, so here's everything. We've got the laundry area for the water, we've got the laundry room for the wall, then we've got the crawl space, and then we're going to be looking at the rest of the home for water protection. And then this last area, whole house, I think you noticed that I didn't type that in. That's actually generated from the numbers that I plugged in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically automatically calculating that wall defense bracket that I showed you to prevent the rest of the walls from coming in, so that the walls won't crack and then you won't have water coming in. So that's what's under whole house. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is all of the solutions that we're going to be taking a look at. So on the next screen that I'll be showing you, it has a few options to look at. And this is just a starting point. So option 1 is going to include everything that you call this about. Option 2 will have these additional items plus some package discount pricing that you may want to take advantage of. So again, this is just a starting point. You should know that you can modify these options to balance the value of what you want to get from your home versus the pricing that makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's continue, and we're going to go on to the very next page here. And so you can see we've got options 1, 2, and 3, and I'm just going to open up these drop downs so you can see all the different areas under these solutions. And you've already seen these, and I'm going to go through each of the options. So I'm just going to take a moment here just to expand all these out. And then I'll scroll up to the top here. So option 1 is, why you called us. And if you go to the left, you can see that these are all carried over under 1, and this is the total. Under option 2, it has everything in option 1 plus those additional items that we talked about. So I just want to double check to make sure here for the water, For the rest of the home, that's really under option 3, and I just have to manually adjust that. So we can go back to option 2. You can see the pricing for that, and then option 3. That is my favorite option, not because it costs the most, but because it has the most value to you as the homeowner, because it provides the absolute best solution that we have to meet all your needs. So the customers that decide to implement it are never disappointed. So it is the optimal solution that is going to take care of all the problems that you're having issues with, plus protect your home. And I think you'll be very happy with it. So all the pricing that you see here includes permits, products, labor, cleanup, and taxes. So everything is included. So option 1, that has everything, again, of why you called. So the laundry room, taking care of the water and the walls, and then option 2 has got all of that, plus it's got the crawl space that you're going to save energy on, and it also has the rest of the water protection. I'm sorry, that's in option 3. And then option 3, that has everything included in it. So option 1, obviously, that's why you call this. But let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on protecting your entire home to prevent these types of things from happening down the road?
Well, that's not totally in my budget right now. I'd like to do that, but I think option 2 would be closer to what I'm looking for, just covering all the basics.
Okay, so option 2. All right, so we'll go ahead and select option 2. And so that will take us to the very next page. So on here, it's going to have everything that you called us for. It's going to take care of the water, so when you're staying in the water, you're not going to have to worry about your feet getting wet or getting an electric shock. Those walls aren't going to come in anymore. Plus the humidity level in the basement and really throughout the house is going to go down, and you're going to gain some energy efficiency because it's no longer going to be cold underneath the crawl space area. So this is all the work that we're going to be doing here, and the total deposit is $78.49 with a balance of $18,316. So when do you plan on making a decision on this? In the next month, next week?
Today. I just want to get the ball rolling here. So
awesome. Well, I have a program that I think you're really going to like. It's called our same-day savings. And then I start to go through the same-day savings at this point. Okay, so there is the overview of the build all the way through to options and then review.